Hi guys, it's Hinda and welcome to a new video on cooking fantasies. Today's recipe is this delicious chocolate charlotte cake. And this is the ultimate chocolate dessert. It tastes so good, it's very delicious and has the smoothest, silkiest texture. I tried adding chocolate to all the elements of this cake. We're gonna be adding a chocolate crust to the Ladyfinger biscuits, a nice and delicious chocolate mousse, and we're gonna be topping it with a chocolate chantilly or whipped cream. Since this is a no-bake cake, it's really easy to make. It's perfect for summer days. You can even eat it frozen as an ice cream. It tastes really good. And before we start, I'm gonna be leaving you down in the description box all the ingredients you're gonna need in both the grams and the cups measurements, as well as a link to the full recipe where you can also print it. And if you're visiting the channel for the first time, we make a lot of delicious and easier recipes. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified whenever a new recipe is up. And let's get started. First thing we're going to prepare is the chocolate syrup. So start by simply mixing the water with the sugar and the unsweetened cocoa powder. Mix everything to combine and then bring it to your stove on a high heat. And you want to keep mixing from time to time till the sugar melts and the syrup starts boiling. And from the boiling point, you're gonna allow it to cook for a further 4 to 5 minutes. Then remove it from the heat and allow it to cool till we need it. Second thing we're gonna do is melt the chocolate for the outer layer. And what I'm gonna do next is trim one end of the Ladyfinger biscuits, and you want to do this so that they stay nice and even. You can also trim them a little bit more if you want the biscuit level to be as high as the mousse. For this recipe, I used a cake ring that's 20 centimeters in diameter. That's about 8.5 inches. It also can be a little bit bigger or smaller, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure to trim about the same size from all the biscuits so that they sit nice and even when you put them later on the ring. And the second reason why I'm doing this now is that I want to know how many ladyfingers I need exactly for my cake ring before I dip them in the chocolate. And of course, all the trimmings we're gonna save because we will need them later. And if you use the same cake size, you're gonna need about 20 Ladyfinger biscuits. So now that all my Ladyfinger biscuits are nice and even, we're gonna go ahead and start dipping them in the chocolate that I have already melted. You can melt the chocolate in a microwave or in a double boiler. I use dark chocolate because I like it more, but you can as well use milk chocolate if you prefer. And make sure that the chocolate is smooth and nicely melted to have a thin layer of the chocolate. And as you can see, I used classic Ladyfinger biscuits because I'm already adding chocolate to all the elements, but if you prefer to, you can add or use chocolate Ladyfinger biscuits. Once I've got all the Ladyfinger biscuits that I need covered in chocolate, I'm gonna leave them in the fridge for the chocolate to sit until we need them. And now for the main component of this chocolate charlotte cake, we're gonna make the chocolate mousse. I need 200 grams dark chocolate for the recipe, but what I'm gonna do before is just add the leftover from the melted chocolate I just used before for the Ladyfinger biscuits, and I'm gonna add as much as needed to have 200 grams. You can skip this if you don't have any leftover chocolate. Main thing is that you need 200 grams chocolate with the butter, and you're gonna melt them together. And you want to do this on a bain-marie or hot water bath or double boiler until they are smooth and totally melted together. I use dark chocolate for the recipe because I really like it, but if you don't like dark chocolate too much, you can use a combination or a mixture of both dark chocolate and milk chocolate. If you don't like dark chocolate at all, you can use milk chocolate, but in this case you're gonna have to add less sugar in the recipe because milk chocolate is relatively sweeter. Once the butter and the chocolate have melted and they are smooth, you're gonna remove them from the double boiler and keep the dish on the stove because we still need it. For the second part of the mousse, we're gonna make a creme anglaise, so add the egg yolks. Make sure the eggs are fresh, and you're gonna add the sugar, milk, and you can add vanilla. This is optional, or you can add Tonka. Tonka bean is somehow like the vanilla, and I try to use it sometimes instead of vanilla to experiment with the combinations of flavors, and I really like it with the dark chocolate, so you can either use that or use vanilla extract, and then whisk everything together. Place your bowl on the bain-marie or the hot water steam and keep whisking continuously until the mixture thickens and turns pale. You want it to be really thick before you remove it from the steaming water, so you can do the test with a spoon and run your finger. If the two lines don't meet again, then it's ready. So remove it from the heat and keep whisking for another 2 to 3 minutes for the mixture to cool down. Then go ahead and add the chocolate and butter that we have melted together on 3 goes while continuously whisking. And of course, you don't want to use any electric mixer or use too much power, just enough to combine everything together. We've already made a strawberry shallot recipe in the channel, and this is also very delicious if you want to use strawberry instead of chocolate, so make sure to check it out. I'm going to be leaving the link down in the description box. Once you have incorporated all the melted butter and chocolate into the egg yolks and sugar mixture, you're going to end up with something like a brownie batter or a fudgy texture. And then I'm going to transfer it to a new bowl simply because I want it to cool faster, because we need it to be at least in room temperature for the next step. And the next thing we're gonna make is the whipped cream, which will make the mousse creamy, fluffy, and gives it its nice texture. So make sure the whipping cream is very cold right out of the fridge, and you want to mix it with the icing sugar until it's nice, creamy and stiff. But make sure not to over mix it, we still want it to be quite creamy for the mousse. And now to combine the chocolate cream into the whipped cream, you're going to start by adding a small quantity of the chocolate cream into the whipped cream and gently fold it in using just a spatula. And take your time to gently fold it in, and again you have to make sure that the chocolate cream is not hot anymore, otherwise this will melt your whipped cream and you're not gonna have a nice mousse texture. Once you have folded this quantity, it doesn't have to be perfect, you're gonna add the whole whipped cream into the first chocolate cream mixture. And again, gently and slowly fold it in until you combine everything together and you have a nice smooth cream. And now it's already time to start assembling our delicious chocolate charlotte cake. The syrup should be cold by now, so we're gonna start by dipping the ladyfinger biscuits from the other side that doesn't have chocolate, of course, and briefly into the syrup and layer them around the cake ring. I use this acetate paper simply because I have it and it keeps my cake mold clean, but if you don't have it, you can assemble the ladyfinger biscuits directly around your cake ring. Once I have added all the ladyfinger biscuits that have chocolate on them around the cake ring, I'm gonna go ahead and cover the bottom also with more ladyfinger biscuits, this time the ones that are not dipped in the chocolate. And they don't have to be perfectly layered as long as they cover the whole bottom of the cake. So once you make sure that the whole bottom is covered with the biscuits, go ahead and add about the half of the mousse. Now it's time to grab the trimmings we saved earlier, to which I'm gonna add about another 3 ladyfinger biscuits that I also cut into small pieces. I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of the chocolate syrup to them and then add them to the cake. I think this is enough, but if you want more texture, you can add even more biscuits. And then add the rest of the mousse, make sure to even it out and place it in the fridge to sit. Now you have two options. You can already make your chocolate chantilly or chocolate whipped cream, or you can do it once you want to serve the cake. It is the same thing and it's totally up to you. And to make this delicious chocolate chantilly, we're going to simply mix some whipping cream with unsweetened cocoa powder and powdered sugar. And keep mixing till it gets stiff and creamy and you have a nice whipped cream. Another option is, instead of using the icing sugar with the unsweetened cocoa powder, you can add directly sweet chocolate powder. When my cream is ready, I'm going to place it in a piping bag, and I use this piping tip here. It's really optional. You can use any piping tip that you prefer. My chocolate Charlotte cake is ready. It has been sitting in the refrigerator for 4 hours. As I said, you can only set it for like an hour or two, add the whipped cream, and then leave it to set for the rest of the time. It should be in total 4 hours minimum, and the whipped cream you can add it at any point you prefer to. And now simply add the chocolate whipped cream or pipe it on the top of the cake. I really like this chocolate whipped cream on top. It brings a lot of lightness and flavor and another texture to the Charlotte cake, so I really recommend you to add it. But when it comes to decoration, it's totally up to you. You can do whatever you like. You can even add some chocolate covered strawberries or add anything you like. It's your cake, your rules, like I always say. For a no-bake cake, this is a really delicious chocolate dessert. It has a very nice consistency and it tastes really good. So you can actually serve it and enjoy it right away, or you can freeze it and enjoy it as an ice cream, or you can even freeze the leftovers for a next time, and then when you need it, you're just going to enjoy it right away. You don't even have to wait for it to thaw. Again, don't forget to check down in the description box where you will find all the ingredients in both the grams and the cups measurements, as well as a link to the full recipe. And I hope you liked this recipe and you will try it soon. And if you do, please let me know how it turned out. I'm always happy to read your feedback. I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell to get notified whenever a new recipe is up. And see you soon in a new video. Happy baking!